everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on the Movies. And today we're doing a movie in honor of, this is Halloween week, and it is Subspecies 2, Bloodstone. And we watched the first one last year, and this is the second one, and during the movie they said, at the end, they said another one's coming out soon. Subspecies 3. They had a name for it, but I didn't catch it. But
Bloodlust? Was it Bloodlust
yeah,
or
I think it might have been
with blood or lust or
I think it was Bloodlust.
showers or something.
And we start off right in the middle of action. We have the bad brother Radu, and he's the greatest vampire. I mean, he just is ugly, he's mean, he's scary, and he's a perfect vampire. I know everybody likes Christopher Lee and some of the others, but this guy really looks evil, and he's ugly and mean, and he'll go after you, and so anyway, he's really perfect. I really like his character, which is funny, but I mean, he plays a perfect vampire. Well, this takes off from the last movie. This girl and her friends from America, who are kind of like half there, they're not very smart, they come and they find these two brothers, and Radu and Stefan, the two brothers, do not get along, and Radu's the scarier of the two, and he looks scarier, and Stefan actually looks, quote, normal, or just like everybody else. Radu looks like he's got a Halloween mask on all the time. So it ends up at the end of the last one, they've had this fight, and Radu has managed to kill Stefan. But Stefan has the Bloodstone with him, within his, like, hands, his skeleton. And Radu, if we come into this action right away, Radu stabs him, with the pole and the heart, and he grabs the Bloodstone, and then he's going to go after the girlfriend. There was one girl that Stefan and he were together, and Radu, I guess, managed to bite her, and she's in the coffin too, and he's going to get her too.
Which, it was really weird because, I can't even remember the first ending that well, but it was a very confusing ending, and there were a lot of things that didn't make sense.
So it could be some of that didn't happen. I don't know.
Because they defeated Radu and killed him.
Yeah.
And chopped off his head. And, but there was like a really weird thing where they kill one of her friends, even though Radu is dead. And so if he's dead, wouldn't that turn her human? And it didn't really make sense, that ending.
Yeah, well, see, that's why, I mean, we don't even, neither one of us remember it that well. All we're left with is what they're showing now. So these little, Marco has one name for them, I just call them little devils.
Oh, really? I mean, aren't they the subspecies?
Yeah, that's what I would think. They're cute little tiny devils, or little, like, cartoon figures. And they come and they put Radu back together. He had his head chopped off.
Yeah.
Because they took their little tiny bodies, a lot of effort to get him back together, and they showed the backbone and the nerve endings and everything going into Radu. And
they were really cool. I liked them, and I thought that they were very underutilized. Like,
I know.
They're such cool creatures, and it'd be cool to see them, like, utilized in a future film. It just feels like these films, they're not really full films.
Yeah.
They're like parts of a film. Like, they don't have the money to do stuff with the creatures, so maybe they'll do it in part 4. And it's like, it just kind of comes off like lazy ass people, like, that can't, they can't find a way to do that. Like, seriously, like, there's so many points in this movie where it feels like that in terms of the story, which I'll get into.
So, well, anyway, the girl actually makes it out of there with the Bloodstone and goes all the way into Bucharest, Romania. And she goes and stays in a hotel because she has her stuff, like her ticket, her return ticket, and everything. And Marco discovered, well, he remembers, and he looked up, that is not the same girl because she was a terrible actress. They hired a new one.
She was a plank of wood, like a plank of what's that? What, a balsa wood?
Oh, she's balsa wood.
Yeah, she's a plank of balsa wood.
I don't even know if you can even get planks out of balsa wood. It's so soft and she was really good.
And this new actress is like, what would you say she's like, Safi?
I'd say she's pretty good.
No, what would you say she is though? Like, what symbolizes her perfectly? Like a piece of lasagna?
I guess so.
Yeah.
And no, but she was really good comparatively. I mean,
yeah.
Neither one of us thought she was wood or anything else. That she was scared because she's worried about Radu finding her with the Bloodstone.
Well, she was lost the whole movie, and people criticize that. They're like, she didn't really do anything that much. Like, the thing is, like, she was feeling what it was like to be a vampire for the first time, and she was in a dream-like state the whole movie.
Yeah,
and, And so maybe she'll be, more human-like in the next one, like more active.
Well, she'll be more vampire-like because of what happened.
Well, human-like in terms of like just being like a character who does things instead of just like standing there, scared and sort of like just sleeping and being scared. They wanted her to do more, and so maybe she'll do more in the next one.
Oh. Okay.
So, do you have anything? Do you want to repeat the plot anymore?
No, I don't want to. It just, there's not really a lot of action. It's almost kind of enough to get through the movie.
Yeah.
So, two and three parts of two others characters come into the movie. Her sister comes because she calls her and says to help her.
And her sister's trash.
And her sister's dumb.
Her sister is like a half-eaten Zoom bar.
I don't know.
Or a Cliff Bar.
And then an American government official, he comes in and he actually has a level head and makes more sense and it acts like he has a brain.
Yeah, he has such a brain that at one point he literally leaves the movie.
Yeah, he left the movie. Got so tired of being around this kind of it was like a half-assed.
Yeah.
Because it's just like they were. I felt like they were constrained.
That was my problem the whole movie. It's just that they felt so constrained by the budget.
I mean, they were trying. I think
it's really weak though, because it's like even if you're constrained by the budget, that doesn't give you the excuse to make like a half-assed movie that like is pathetic. Honestly, like there are so many movies that were quote constrained by their budget, and you can't tell that at all. Like that new 13 Fanboy movie, that had a budget probably lower than this movie. And it looked a lot better and was a lot better. So what's the excuse?
I don't know. Well, didn't hear one, but they seemed. I felt constrained, like they were hampered by something, and they did the best they could with what minimal plot they were given to act. But anyway, so and the other two characters, I would say they're parts of a character. Because the guy from the American, well, he was with the State Department. He had quite a bit of a part, but then, like Marco said, he left the movie. You have a professor, and he acts like he has dementia. I can't explain. He's goofy, And he helps explain what's going on because, her sister doesn't understand. The police chief, what happens is the maids come in there, and this girl, she's a vampire now, so she's asleep in the tub. They think she's dead, and when they pull her out of the tub, she's like in rigor mortis, which was, so I didn't get that
funny.
either. So they thought she was dead or sick or I don't know, and they took her away. And anyway,
She was just sick of being in the movie, and she was trying to get out of it somehow. So she was like, "Oh, maybe I'll fake my own death, and I'll just lie here in this tub." And then they carry her out, and she's like, "Oh shit, they're actually gonna carry me out and take me to the morgue. Oh no, I better wake up."
and she did wake up.
And be in the movie again.
The character that came in there was a detective. He was there a little bit, and he was kind of just goofy and a joke. And he couldn't understand English very well, and he said where he learned it from all these American
He was like the
detective stories.
the typical foreign movie character where you have like a movie about like a foreign person who like he like doesn't understand very much, but he understands from like American media, like, oh, I watched those old shows on television.
Yeah.
And it's like kind of like cutesy, cringeworthy, funny type of thing. He really just came off as like useless, because there was this whole part in the movie, this whole period, where it got really slow, and it was really because of things like him, because he didn't really contribute anything to the movie at all.
No, the only thing he really contributed was because they thought she was dead, because she looked like she had rigor mortis. She was completely stiff. She had that bloodstone in her backpack, and they found it, and the detective took it, and when the sister showed up, he showed it to her and said, "What is this?" They thought it might be a stolen artifact.
Yeah, that's his contribution to the movie.
That was it.
And making like cringeworthy jokes.
Yeah, he made a few more after that. And so the professor, found a book and he identified the guy at the castle because they saw him, because he was trying to get this girl, and then he was trying to get the sister, and it was Radu. And so he told them all the story, because he's a professor, but he's getting dementia. But anyway, and then the other character who was in it was the mother of Radu and Stefan. And
Stefan was dead.
Well, but she still was his mother, wasn't she? She would have been the mother of
she
both.
Didn't care about him at all, though.
She just liked Radu. He was like her favorite son. And she was like the Tales from the Crypt Keeper.
Yeah.
She was like, I guess she was a vampire too, but she would look like even worse, but like that guy, the Tales from the Crypt Keeper. And so she had a tiny bit of, she was encouraging Radu to get the Bloodstone and what to do about this vampire girl now, and what to do about the sister, whatever. And anyway, those are the characters in the movie. So it wasn't really, basically it was built around these two girls, the sisters. And still though, it was, like I said, it was all constrained. And they tried to do their parts, but it was really
overall I would say that I thought that this movie was better at first, but it's really not. I really liked the opening because I thought it was scary.
Yeah.
She's all alone. And I thought, this is going to be a really good movie.
Mm-hmm.
But then after a certain point, like literally nothing happens for like an hour. And it was really, really boring. And it made me just like kind of like disappointed. I don't want to describe. And then like there's this last 10 minutes that's okay. But I was really disappointed. I thought that the first one was way better, even though it's still trash. Because the first one had a better story that was more believable. And the first one didn't feel like they were constrained by their budget.
All. It felt like it was fuller.
Yeah.
They had more, they had more characters too, because the girl, she had 2, 3 maybe people who were with her from the United States. I think one was from Europe.
Yeah, like
one was from Romania.
Like that one that you really liked. You really.
I don't remember, but anyway.
You mentioned her on Woman Crush Wednesday.
Oh God, Mark was really weird.
But well, it was more realistic too. In this movie, one of the problems was near the end when they're gonna defeat Radu. The whole conclusion is really haphazardly put together, almost like they're kind of ignoring how powerful Radu is. Like, he's how many years old?
Yeah.
And it's just easy for her to stab him like that. Like, it should have been more complicated. But in the first one, it felt a lot more realistic because, you had Stefan, his brother, who's his equal, and they're fighting each other. And so that was a lot more realistic. And of course, you remember they had that one girl prisoner who had like the dress that was torn just so that you could see her nipples. Like they had these little patches torn off just so you could see that. But that was a lot better than this, because this was just like the whole movie just felt kind of thrown together like a trailer for the next movie. And I thought this could have been really good and intense. Like, I was expecting for her to just stay in that hotel, and it would all take place on that one night. And you would have some other characters come to the hotel to try to help her, and then they'd all get killed off, and then that would be that. And another thing is that once Radu gets the Bloodstone, like, he gives it to his mom, and nothing happens. Like, what was the Bloodstone for? Like, so that was all pointless. Like,
well, we did see what was really weird. We saw the girl drink it.
Well, she
drank something from it, but what was it supposed to do for her? I didn't get that.
I don't
do anything for her.
But we saw in the first movie the Bloodstone getting filled up, I believe. But I just can't remember the Bloodstone at all. Like, what's it for? Like, you gotta remind me. These are very, like, tiny little details that I really don't care about in my daily life. So, you gotta remind me with these movies. I'm not gonna go back and watch the first one again to remind myself of trivial little details. And that's the sad thing, is that it has some improvements. Like, immediately, they get rid of Twilight Boy Stefan. And they replace the balsa wood with a piece of lasagna, and then they also and the kills too. Remember with the first one, I complained that the kills, they didn't really show very much blood at all. Like, they were very tame kills and kind of lame, lame and tame. Well, with the second one, the kills are very bloody and very good. So I'll say, like, they did these things that, like, literally improved on all the things that we said that was wrong with the first one. But the thing is that it feels like they focused on those things we criticized, and then they forgot about the things they did good in the first one. So, do you agree with that, Safi?
Yeah. So basically it kind of, what happened? Well, the guy from the State Department, he left. And then
he left the movie.
He left the movie. And then the girl, the sister...
He'll be in the third one.
Who visited her sister who was in trouble, she got away with the help of her sister. There was a whole bunch of action there. And then everybody else, I'm not going to go into all what happened, but the mother was still alive.
And she pulls Lasagna Girl back in.
Yeah.
And I thought it would have been a lot creepier if they had just cut off after they showed the shot of her walking backwards into the darkness.
Yeah.
And then cut and then end it. Like, that would have been a lot scarier and creepier, because she's, like, disappearing into the darkness, whereas they have this, like, kind of, like, crappy kind of ending where the mom like jumps out and drags her into a room and closes the door. Like, we know she's gonna get out of that. We know that, you know, she'll be fine in the next movie. So it's not scary at all.
Yeah, and the professor got killed.
Yeah.
The detective wasn't even around, like we said.
Yeah,
he just kind of
pointless.
played this.
Pointless character.
What would you? What do you call it? A stereotype kind of person.
I'm surprised that he didn't eat the spaghetti. He didn't eat the spaghetti. Right, Safi?
I guess.
There's no scene where, like, they're just stuffing their faces with spaghetti and drinking red wine. No, they do not drink red wine in this movie. They drink plum brandy. Which probably made... and then they take showers, too. You know, they made a point that every female character in this movie, they had to show them taking a shower.
Yeah.
And the first, you know, the lasagna... You know, she was crying while she was taking a shower, and then the other girl was just kind of taking a shower, and so that was kind of weird. Did you like that, Safi? Because I noticed you commented on how you were upset with that in 13 Fanboy, but then you didn't say anything about them for this movie. I wonder why.
I don't know. It just seemed more natural, I guess. The second girl, they showed taking a shower, but they didn't show very much of her body, which was that. I think that was probably.
It was probably a compromise.
Yes, it was a compromise.
Like, she was like, I do not want to be naked on a movie.
No, she was American. She didn't have an accent. She was totally American.
Okay,
both of them. It was sisters. They're from the United States.
I will show one nipple, and that's it. But if I do, you have to pay me in 5 plates of spaghetti. That's what it felt like.
Yeah, it was funny. You get the professor, and you get this guy from the State Department. They don't have to take a shower.
Yeah, they don't have to. I guess they don't shower. They
got the tales from the crypt keeper mother.
Oh, we know she doesn't shower. She probably showers in blood or something.
Yeah. So I'm just teasing.
And then Radu, Radu, even though he's a vampire, you know, you can tell he's the type of guy who wears Axe body spray.
Nah, I don't know, but he's a perfect vampire. Perfect.
Yeah, he's really good. And you know, I'll repeat, since if someone didn't see the first movie review, when we went to Hollywood Video, we would always see his poster and see the covers of his movies. But I never watched them because I thought those look like really hardcore. They look like really scary, dark horror movies. And you know, he looks really, really scary and like a vampire that you wouldn't want to mess with.
Yeah.
And he really lives up to that in this movie, except for at the end, where it kind of feels like he's not using his full powers because they don't have the budget to use his full powers.
No.
You know?
But anyway, they left it off to where the sister who was trapped there is really trapped by the mother. Now the mother, she actually set the mother on fire in the end. And I thought that was the end of her, but apparently not. And she ended up getting trapped by her. And, then they, like I said, the State Department guy and the sister, they got away.
You know what they should do? They should have the scene in the next movie where the mom is like, I get set on fire all the time walking around torches. And it's like it doesn't even affect her because she's been burnt so many times just like walking past torches, and she's got like you know, flames are attracted to her because she's like she's flammable, and that, you know, that would be pretty funny. But then the other sister gets away, you know, the trash sister. You know, she was really like a trash character because, you know, we wanted to follow Lasagna, but instead we had to follow her. And she wasn't terrible, but she was just kind of trash in comparison. But she got away, and, you know, she's probably leaving to go take a shower. She'll probably take a shower at the beginning of part 3,
I
and
was gonna say she'll probably be in the next one.
they'll have the credits over the shower scene, like she's taking a shower and it says Subspecies 3 Bloodlust, and she's using the soap, and then the soap turns into Radu and kills her. Like the soap morphs into Radu's head, and then Radu is like, ah! Because the thing about Radu is that I really liked is that he kind of has a bit of humanity in him in this movie, like a bit of character, because he mentions at one point that he misses Stefan because he misses tormenting him. And so it puts the first movie in a different perspective. You know, in the first movie, when he was following the main characters around, he was really scary and creepy. But now I kind of see it like he's just like playing a prank on him, and he was just doing it for laughs. And so I think that that's kind of fun too. That like he's like this vampire who likes to torment people, and he finds it entertaining, as the audience does too. So Safi? Oh, Safi fell asleep. Oh God, she really did. See, everybody? You know, I watched this movie last night, and then today she watched it and like took 5 hours to watch it. And, you know, we're doing the review at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But still, like, wow. Okay, Safi. Like, seriously? She's gonna start doing this in every review now, like fucking Halloween 5 review, too. If you guys want to go watch that, the Halloween 5 review. But the sad thing is that I think that Subspecies 2, for all the good that it did, it's not better than Part 1. And that's sad, because Part 1, you know, there were legitimate criticisms, but it had some good points to it. Like, it felt like a full story with, you know, it just had some issues that it needed to work out. But the second one, it really just felt like a filler movie. It felt like, instead of telling a full story, they were just kind of inching their way toward the third one. And the third one, you know, I don't even care about, honestly, like, because what if the third one's worse than this one? Oh, Safi, are you awake?
Yeah, I'm kind of dizzy.
Told you guys.
Ugh. Well, anyway, I watched the whole movie. I didn't have any problem, except I kept getting interrupted by somebody else in the house. But I watched the whole movie. I just seemed kind of, it went through the whole thing. It just seemed a little light. I thought the sister was stupid and the professor, but I said he had dementia. And because they kept wanting to investigate what was going on, and the State Department guy said, I think it's getting late. I think we should go. Like, he recognizes there's probably danger, and they don't even listen to him. He's the only one with head on his shoulders.
Well, the best part was when they go inside Radu's castle, and then Radu comes out and says, "I'm not allowed trespassers."
Yeah, he called them. He showed up for them, and he called them trespassers.
And then they left. And they leave. And it's like,
that was interesting.
When do we ever see that in any of these other horror movies?
I've ever seen that before in any horror movie I've ever watched.
Like, that's something we've complained about, that they actually fixed. They fixed that. They said, okay, they're actually going to leave, because they're not totally retarded.
Well, they just, whatever. They did what they did. So anyway, I don't know what else to say about it.
Well, what would you rate it in terms of food? That's the main point of this channel. Well, I gave it a bowl of my chili. Oh. And my chili needs something. It's chili, and it may be a little different because we eat our chili on noodles. And a lot of people just eat it the way it is, or they mix it in. They call it chili mac. Ours is like part soup, part chili, and you put it on elbow noodles. But the flavor, I need to do something about the flavor, and it's missing. No, I don't agree.
Well, it could be my problem because, like we said, I take a medication every day. One of the side effects, it affects my ability to taste, and but I feel like I could add something that would be pleasing to both well, to everybody else and me both. So,
It's got a tomatoey flavor and it's got a little bit of spicy flavor.
I put
And
3 tablespoons of chili powder in it, but it just needs one more thing. I'm just not sure. And it's really weird. Marco and I have been getting what we would like to have a chili dog once in a while instead of just a plain hot dog. But that takes a certain kind of chili, and I don't even think I could use my chili. It just would not go with it at all. I think it's more like a chili mac without the noodles. But that's another thing I'd like to do because what we have would not go with it. It's not the right consistency. It has to be something really kind of thick. And soupy.
I'd like to have a cheesy dog where you cut a hot dog in half, or you kind of cut a slit in it, and then you put cheese inside it and put it in the oven.
That's what my niece would do.
But
she does that.
But Safi, I will reprimand you because you've already rated a movie chili.
Well, I know.
In the past couple of days, you rated 13 Fanboy chili.
Well, I bought Wendy's chili. I really didn't want to, but I was hungry.
And you ate it.
And I got the usual. There are two things. Well, one thing I just eat at Wendy's, and that is the cheesy baked potato. I tried the cheesy bacon potato, but it's just too much. I don't want it. But I did eat it, but it's just too much for me. I just rather have the cheesy baked potato. And just, if I have a regular baked potato, I just have it at home. Make it, because it's simple. And so I wanted to try it, and if I did a part of the rating with that, then that's the way it goes. I still have it, but do you all know what they do with Wendy's chili? Well, there's beef in it. That is from the leftover burgers they don't sell, and they chop them up and they put them in the chili.
Oh,
so yeah. So I still have it, and I was going to have a little more, but I don't know. I don't think so. So anyway, that's what I'm rating it. It's my chili, but it needs something.
What about me?
But let's hear what Marco, I can't wait to hear what Marco comes up with.
What about me? Like, what about Bob? Instead of what about Bob? It's, what about Marco? What about Marco? And What About Bob is a much better movie than this movie. So
okay, Marco, come on.
But my rating is, Safi used to love caramel even more than she loved that blonde girl from Subspecies 1.
I have no idea.
She loved caramel, and she would go to McDonald's and she would get Rojo McFlurries, and she would get apples with caramel dip, and back when that was good, McDonald's is terrible. McDonald's.
Oh yeah, we can get pumpkin ice cream today if we want.
Oh yeah,
it's Sunday.
Oh yeah. So, so for a birthday of Safi's, I thought that it would be a good idea to get a caramel cake, but maybe it'd be good. I got it from Kroger, and it wasn't horrible, but it was just kind of lacking, and it had this very artificial flavor, and the caramel icing was really sugary, and it wasn't that caramelly. Like, it wasn't that good of a caramel flavor, and it was, just a gross Kroger cake. And, eating it with vanilla ice cream made it even worse. And so that's this movie. It's a piece of that caramel cake with vanilla ice cream. Do you remember that cake, Safi? That vaguely. Caramel cake?
I think vaguely.
Safi was upset with it, but I legitimately think that it was a good idea. And I still do. And I still, if there was a good caramel cake, it would be really good, Safi. And you could just, don't eat it with vanilla ice cream, though. Eat it with, like, chocolate, chocolate ice cream, or, another kind, not vanilla. Because, if you don't know what caramel is literally just plain old sugar burnt.
Yeah.
So, what do you think of that, Safi?
Who knows? Problem is ice cream. I just talked about getting this pumpkin custard. We have this place called Ritter's here, and on Sunday and Wednesday in the fall, you can get, right before Halloween, like during October, you can get pumpkin custard, and it's pretty good. So I usually just have a really small dip, and Mark will have a couple.
Two.
Two.
I had 3 one time because a restaurant didn't give me what I fully ordered. And so I was like, oh, I'll make it up with having an extra scoop of ice cream.
The ice cream does not agree with me.
I like it a lot. I like the pumpkin ice cream's really good.
It actually kind of makes me sick. So I just, it's just, I guess so. I used to really love ice cream. Well, actually, this is custard, but ice cream, but it's
good
different.
though. They say that custard is healthier than ice cream, but it's just kind of the same, honestly.
Yeah.
Like it's still stuff with sugar in it and still dessert. So
when he talks about having caramel cake and having a certain ice cream, I'm thinking like that'd be great if it did not disagree with me so much.
I mean real ice cream, Safi. But
yeah,
what
real
does that
ice
do with
cream, any
Ritter's?
kind of ice cream doesn't matter. It just doesn't. It's very sad. So anyway,
God,
that's
Safi.
what we rated this movie, and I don't know if you want to even waste your time watching it because you should watch the first one maybe, although that's really disjointed, and then you can watch this one. This one is actually probably as good. It will stand on its own because I don't know if you need to know all those details because
You
they don't
do.
really. I don't know. They don't really
You
reveal.
do.
Marco was talking about this Bloodstone. We don't know. There's
also
no
said-
comprehension of what good it did.
I also said that it changes the perspective on the first one because of the thing with him tormenting his brother and all that kind of stuff. So it adds more perspective to the first one.
Yeah.
But I would recommend not watching any Subspecies movies and just staring at the covers and coming up with your own Subspecies movies. Because honestly, the images that I thought up of in my head as a kid while looking at the covers were much better than the actual movies. So
yeah, and we do encourage you. I think we encourage you in quite a few things that we watch.
yeah,
How we'll complain about the writers, and we'll say, well, why don't you guys give your ideas?
yeah,
We encourage you.
do that.
We will encourage you always. If you have something better that you could that they could do, or you just have a way to expound on what they were doing, feel free to talk about it in your comments because we welcome that. I appreciate creativity, and I think they need all the help they can get because some of the people they are hiring, they don't know which end is up,
None of them
and
really
they have
do.
no imagination.
I mean, just a couple of days ago, they killed a cinematographer. So
well, they complain.
they have
that
no idea what they're doing in
the
Hollywood.
person in charge of the props apparently has gotten in trouble before, and so
Well, I'm just saying, like,
I don't know all the story, but the guy who set that up,
these people who make
Not
these
too
movies, they don't know what they're doing.
some of them don't. Yeah,
They're not this grand Wizard of Oz. They're
they're not perfect.
They're what the wizard looks like behind the curtain. So yeah.
Lately, yeah, I would think so. So if you have any ideas to share, we welcome that. We welcome your likes.
And
subscribe.
subscribe,
Oh.
because Safi, remember, okay, this is a good thing to end on. The guy who recommended, see, there was a certain horror YouTuber on YouTube this past year, and I thought that he was one of the best upcoming horror YouTubers, and he did a review of the first 2 Subspecies movies, and he said to me that I would like the second one more than the first one because the second one doesn't have that Twilight bullshit. Well, that's the guy who quit doing YouTube to pursue golf and God. So
Whatever that means.
this was really
don't know.
funny.
Have you seen God out the golf course lately?
You see God in the golf hole?
I know a few people play golf, and I'd like to ask them, seen God there lately playing golf?
Hey, God! What kind of ball should I use, God?
What kind of driver should I use?
What kind of club? Should I use a big one or a small one, God?
Well, they all have a name, and they have numbers, and...
Hey, God, I just lost my golf tournament, so I'm going to go home and pray the golf away.
Yeah, whatever, but it's just, whatever. So anyway,
people.
so everybody, goodbye.
Goodbye.